Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Cinematic, and I'm doing a gameplay commentary. Oh my god! But anyways, this gameplay is from Austere Wizard. He's one of my subscribers from my other channel, and I'm pretty sure he's subscribed over here too. I will be linking him in the description. I'm not asking you to subscribe to him, but you know, at least go by and check out his page. He's one of my subs that's been around for a long time, and he sent me a gameplay to use. So, you know, stop by and tell him what's up or something. And if you like his content, subscribe. But let's get off into some topic matter. I really, tell you guys the honest truth, I've been doing so much news lately. I really haven't sat down and thought about topics. But one thing that I've been doing a lot lately is watching Ancient Aliens. I don't know if you guys know what that is. I love that show, but I watch it all the time. And I'm not going to say, oh my god, you guys should watch it and believe everything they say. Because, hell, I don't believe half of what I hear ever. But I will say that on the show, they do bring a lot of supporting evidence and some really good theories behind that evidence that makes me wonder, you know, what's really went on in the past, what's going on now. And I guess we'll probably try to talk about that for this whole rest of this 8-9 minutes, but let's see, I'm trying to think of some of the things. So they show like ancient Egyptian like pictures, and like one that really stuck out was they show what looks like a big light bulb, and they say that down in these shafts where they were building and where they drew some of this stuff at, and where, you know, they're digging and stuff, that there's no possible way that they could have carried a torch down there because there's no airflow. So to get light, they're saying that they drew these pictures to show us that, you know, they had light bulbs, which I don't know. That kind of sounds a little crazy, but it looks like a light bulb. And you know, that's just one little thing. They got all of these Sanscripts they decode, and they have these messages in them that talk about the gods. And I'm not going to get into religion, but I'm just going to say that if you think that there's only ever been Jesus as God, then something's wrong with you. You need to go look at your history. But like, basically way back in the day, there were gods, bunches of them. And in all these stories, they always talk about how the gods came down from the heavens. Sometimes they're depicted on flying machines and things like that. So the ancient alien theorists say that, you know, maybe the gods were aliens, extraterrestrials, and maybe they came down on spaceships and things like that to deliver these messages to people. You know, it's just something that I'm not going to tell you that that's true, because I'm not going to tell you that God exists or doesn't exist. I'm not going to get into that type of stuff. But what I'm going to say is, you know, look into it. If it interests you, look into it and, you know, make your own opinions. Like, that's my whole thing with everything. I try to get people to always look into the things that interest them and have them form their own opinions. I'm just letting you know basically what I watch and some of the things that stick out to me. Now, I know one of them's called like Pika Pichu, and I'm probably butchering that name. But there are some sites that are very, very old. I'm not going to say how old because I'm not 100% sure, but very old. Like real old. We're talking about like Mayan civilization times and things like that, way back in the day. Pika Pichu, Pika Payu, something like that. I really should have looked up some of this stuff, but I mean, I've seen the show so much that I just have trouble remembering the name of it. But anyways, it is a site where there are these big square blocks, and they have like perfect lines etched into them. That's like a 1/4 inch deep or whatever, and they are like perfect lines, and they're etched in there. And they say basically back in that time frame, these people, and we're talking about granite and stuff like that. And I don't know if you guys know anything about granite, but it's one of the hardest surfaces there is, and it's really hard for us nowadays, like, to carve shit into granite. Like, we have to have like precision tools and shit. But they say basically back then they didn't have anything like that. At most, they might have had some kind of chisel and a hammer. And you and I, well, all of us should know that you are not going to cut anything perfectly with a chisel and a hammer. Which we're not. They didn't even have hammers. They had like rock mallets they made. Like, I don't even know. Trust me. I've seen it, and it boggles my mind. Like, how did that happen? How in the hell did they carve that shit out? Like, it makes no sense. They didn't have anything to do it. It would take somebody like us to do it millions and millions of tries, and we still probably wouldn't get it right with the kind of tools that they had. So, you know, little things like that. And then there's this other site where they got these huge, I'm saying like 20, 30 foot tall, like perfectly square cut blocks. And they weigh tons upon tons. And they're set up all perfectly together. They're cut out perfectly, you know, perfectly square, butted next to each other, stacked on top of each other. They still stand in the same place today with no kind of, I don't remember what you call that, but you know what I'm saying, the stuff that sticks rocks together. Like, fuck it. I fucked that up. But you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, most of you should know what I'm talking about. And the thing is that there are no other rocks in this little area, and they looked into it, and the only place these rocks could have come from were like, you know, miles away, up a hill. And there is no way that I can see people carrying this shit. Like, you could probably get as many people that would fit around one of these things, and I'm just going to shoot high, I'm going to say over 100 people, and 100 people together would not be able to lift a stone, let alone carry it down a hill. So, you know, those are little things that they talk about and they show. And then they show jewelry from way back then of airplanes and things like that. Like, it looks like an airplane when they show it to you. They show you what it would look like in full size. It still looks like an airplane. Some of the pictures on the wall look like people in spaceships and things like that. I mean, it's just crazy to me. And I mean, they've even went so far as to look into the thought that maybe aliens visit certain people, and that's how certain people get, you know, the knowledge that they have. And I mean, think of this. Here's one big thing they point out. Up until the Egyptians built the pyramids, before that, they have no record of people building shit. Like, when the Egyptians built the pyramids, the Mayans and all these people started building these big, huge structures. Before that, all we know, all we think is, oh, we were all cavemen living inside of caves with no knowledge of anything, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're building huge fucking structures. So that's like, all these things to me make me think about, you know, are there aliens? Are there other life forms? And then the big thing is, are they here right now, like, living amongst us? Because another thing is, if you do your history on evolution, we went from these, you know, humanoids or whatever you want to call it. We didn't have any like knowledge or, you know, any way to do anything. We were kind of just like big dummies. And they say that they think that, you know, aliens came down here and infused something in our DNA from them. Like, kind of, you know how they say God created us in his image? Like, they put something in us to where we would be smarter and like, we would be able to learn stuff and advance. I don't know, like, this shit to me is crazy. Hopefully I'm not really boring the shit out of you guys, but this stuff is the kind of stuff I like watching on TV. I like watching the History Channel, Ancient Aliens, ID Discovery, you know, all this different stuff on TV, and then an NFL Network. I don't watch any sitcoms, I don't watch any TV shows. I watch movies, but I don't watch TV shows or anything like that, because I feel like even if none of this is true, it sparks my imagination, and in the end, it's a learning process. Let me think. I'm trying to think, because we got a couple more minutes. I'm trying to think of some other things on the show that they talk about that really, like, amazes me. Oh, they talk about, I think it's Van Gogh, and they say that they're not really intrigued by his paintings as much as they are his drawings. He actually has drawings of things that look like tanks, fully automatic weapons, spaceships, well, not spaceships, rockets, I guess you could say, that look kind of like the rockets that we use to try to go to the moon. Things like that. He's got a bunch of pictures of things he drew up. Airplanes, like a helicopter. He drew something that looks like a helicopter. But instead of, having an engine, it had men propelling it. He actually drew engines and things like that, like mechanical things that were not around in his days. That, later on in time, we actually used a lot of his ideals and made them into machines, like the helicopter, tanks, things like that. We actually used that stuff to build this shit, like, way later in the future. So, that's why they thought that maybe he had been, talked to by the gods or the aliens or whatever you would like to call them, and given, information to, draw these things. But the game's over, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I kind of like doing these because I just talk, off the top of the head about things that I like. And hopefully it interests you guys. I don't know. Either way, 11-minute commentary. Please drop a like because it took me so long to do it. Ah! I'm out. Peace.